Hey guys, this is 4X Alchemist coming to you with our first video on expert guides to getting started playing Endless Space 2. We're going to start off with my personal favorite of the races from Endless Space 2, the Lumeris. And the plan here is I'm going to go through the first 30 turns of the game and try to give a lot of insight into each of the decisions that I make as the Lumeris, showing a couple of tips and tricks, things that they're good at, weaknesses that you have to make up for, talking about the order of the tech tree, what to do with your hero, and some of the deeper mechanics of the game. I'm going to be playing against a lot of other players. These are all AIs, of course, so we're going to go in a 10-player match, so 9 AIs and us, with no Vodiani and no Unfallen, because the computer doesn't do a very good job of playing either of those races yet, on endless difficulty with the hardest minor factions. So hopefully it'll be useful to you guys. Let's get right into it. I always love this picture, this chubby dude. He looks so happy and angry. So, right at the start, we're going to skip this for now. Skip the videos. So the Lumeris always start on an atoll, which is one of my favorite world types, and it's fertile and temperate. They get +3 dust on fertile, and they also start with these Nashists, which have some bonuses when we're being invaded on fertile, but not any FIDS bonuses. By the way, FIDS, if you're not familiar, food, industry, dust, science, and influence here. So sometimes I'll say FIDS, sometimes I'll say FIDSy when I'm talking about these statistics. So looking at our home planet, just as we are getting used to this, we've got a pretty nice start. So the planets in Endless Space operate on 3 tiers of difficulty to colonize. 4 tiers, excuse me, of difficulty to colonize. There's what I call Tier 0, which are planets like the Atoll, but also Terran, Forest, Ocean, and Boreal, where all races, with the exception of the Riftborn, can just jump on them right away with no technologies. Then the next tiers, I think it'll help for us to jump into the technology tree. The next tiers are unlocked down in this half of the tech tree, the bottom half here. And there's some in the first tier here, like Mediterranean and Tundra. Some in the second tier, Barren, Steppes, Snow, Savanna, Arid, Ash. And then third tier, Lava, Desert, Arctic, Ice, and Toxic. So when I talk about the tiers of planets, that's what I'm referring to. So we start with an atoll, Tier 0 planet, and we don't have any other Tier 0s or Tier 1s in our home place, but we do have 2 Tier 2 planets, a Savanna and a Steppes. And an Ash is also Tier 2, but a little bit different. So this is actually not a bad starting spot for us. The Lumeris, one of their special abilities, or one of their defining features, is instead of having colony ships, they simply buy outposts using dust. So they start with 2 caravel ships, and thanks to one of their traits called Efficient Explorers, their exploration ships have an extra probe. So each of these 2 have 3 probes, which is pretty sweet. Okay. So to get started, I'm going to just run through the top bar here to get our get our thing ready to go. So this is our Senate. We start out as pacifists. This ability doesn't help us at all right now, and we're just going to start with putting the Super Tax Act together. +4 gold per person on all of our planets. Gold, dust, whatever. For our technology, we almost always want to go with xenolinguistics. So xenolinguistics gives xeno-industrial infrastructure, which gives +10 industry on fertile, planet, and temperate. And those things stack. So our atoll which is temperate and fertile, and a planet, will give plus 30 industry, almost doubling our industry there. On top of that, as we move towards the ability to colonize our steppes and our savanna, which are both temperate and a planet, colonizing each of these, just as soon as we get it colonized, will give us an additional 20 industry. So that's really important. And then the second thing I like to go after for similar reasons with Lumeris are the public-private partnerships under xenobiology. So I'm going to put that in the queue next. So right now we start with a really low science production, only 16. But we're going to be able to fix that pretty soon, because the next part that we're going to check out is our hero. So here's Yelchin, the hero that we start with, who is a seeker and Lumeris from the pacifist class. And we care about a couple things with Yelchin. The first one is that here he doesn't give any immediate bonuses on our system because we don't have any anomalies, but if we put him on our fleets, the fleets will move faster. Heroes gain experience in endless space by discovering new systems, exploring curiosities, and fighting battles if they're on a fleet, or by completing buildings if they're on a planet, on a system. And they also gain a little bit of passive experience no matter what. From our perspective, we have 6 different things that we could be putting points into. The one that we're most interested in is this one, Blue Sky Speculator, which can have up to 2 points in it, each of which gives plus 20 science. So he starts out at level 1, we need 2 points. If we can get him to level 3, he'll give plus 40 science to the system. So because our planet doesn't have very much industry early on in the game, he's not going to gain levels very fast if we just place our hero directly onto the planet. However, we are going to be doing a lot of exploring, and the Lumeris have the highest number of probes at the start of the game, with 6 from their 2 scout ships. And so our hero can kind of tag along as our ships are probing the universe. So, and he gives a little bit of extra move speed. His ship only has 5, so the total move speed of the fleet is just 7, even though the scout ships are 6. So let's start out by booping these couple of curiosities and seeing what's here. We've got some super spuds and some red sang, 2 luxury resources. This is fantastic. So that's a pretty good start for us right now. So I'm going to take one more probe, fire it out that way, and then I'm actually going to separate these guys, fire one probe. Where are we? We should also mention I set random galaxy shapes. So as we look out, this is a disk galaxy, and we're just on the left side of the disk. So with our 4 paths, kind of roughly going on the circumference and then into the center. One of the coolest things that we can do as Lumeris is find places to colonize off the beaten path. So I'm just gonna take a little probe and throw it out this way just to see if we get lucky. And then I'm going to send one ship down that way and my hero this way. It's pretty safe to explore in the early game with these guys. And this guy has no moves left because he used all his probes. And so we just want to get as much of a view of the surrounding systems as possible. So next turn I'm actually going to send this guy down here, and we'll go from there. So now, as far as what to construct first, there are 2 worthwhile things to do. If we had a planet to colonize, I would think about colonizing that planet right away. The cerebral reality is good, and building a 3rd ship is good. Although, we should actually build a slightly different ship than the one we've got right now, because we don't need to be paying for a gun or defenses, and we can add a slightly faster engine that gives the ship 7 speed. Or a slower one that gives it 5 probes. But I think in the early game, since we have the extra probe already, 3 probes plus a fast engine is what I'm going to want to do. So, boop. We'll just go right here, and I'm going to build that scout ship first. Because remember, we want to be able to explore enough curiosities to level up our hero before putting him, as soon as possible, before putting him back into the system. And so, in Endless Space, once you place a hero, there's a certain number of turns that are indicated off on the left here. It says lock. You see that lock sign? He's locked up for 8 turns. And we have to wait until those 8 turns are over in order to reassign him. So that'll be right around turn 9. So we want him to be level 3 by turn 9 so we can put him in and get a boost to our science. Alright, so here we go. That's all turn 1. I think I've done everything there. Yep. We went through and like all of the menus basically. We refitted our politics, our science, changed our ships, and did stuff with our hero. The only thing that we haven't done is used some of our gold. And I think I actually am going to do a little something here. One more little trick. So we can take this Caravel 2 that we wanted to build, and I'm actually going to set this over to a double probe Caravel, because now if I take this original one, I can, for just 80 gold, upgrade it, and it gets 5 probes. And I can send out those 5 probes in various different directions. So for a total expenditure of 80 gold, I was able to do 2 curiosities and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 probes on the first turn. This is all turn 1. Because when you upgrade a ship, its probes come back. And they don't cost movement points, like if you're already at 0 for the ship. So, now we'll move to the next turn. This is on endless difficulty. The computers always get 100 dust in the star system on the first turn. So, good luck for the good guys, because there's some kind of planet here that we can immediately colonize. It looks like it's going to be this Boreal with Red Sang. Then we've got an Arctic and a Barren and a Barren. So not a great system, but not terrible. Meanwhile, down here, alright, we've got like 1 move left. So why don't we throw a probe that way, and then we're gonna come up here and join our pal, who himself is gonna do a little bit more exploring, because he'll probably be able to make it there and back. Meanwhile, our Curiosity Caravel, lead prober, is going to be heading out this way to meet up with our boy. Okay, and then over here, we've got a couple of Arids, Arid Savanna. Ooh, this is very nice, and 4 curiosities as well. Okay, so this is looking good. We're going to try around turn 9 to get ourselves back here with our hero to explore these curiosities. Okay, that's an influence 1, but we're probably not going to be able to extend there for quite a while because our influence as Lumeris is not super high. Oh, it looks like we have a rival that close. And now over here, we've got another Arid with a bunch of curiosities. Okay, so these guys might have to wait a turn, or this guy will probably have to wait a turn there before booping. And this one, I'm going to send him straight through, because in 3 turns he'll be here. He'll have all 5 probes. I'll join up with my hero there, and he will, yeah, he'll get the curiosities explored. So now we're at level 2 already, because we're exploring some new planets, and we looked at a couple of curiosities. And now we move forward. We'll have our second ship here. We met a minor civilization. Excellent. And we found out these are the Sophons over here. Let's take a look at their place. So they've got their boreal that they start on, and a jungle and a snow in their starting space. So that's pretty nice. And how about these guys? They've got an atoll and an arid. Also very strong. Very strong indeed. So we'll initiate contact with these guys. And one of the things that the Lumeris really like to do early on is develop some good relations with at least one or so race. Because the gold and science benefits that you get from being pals are very good indeed. So we are definitely, oh wow. So we are definitely going to be in the game, Tundra, nice, with strategics. Alright, I think that we're gonna go ahead. We didn't do it last turn. But I think we're going to go ahead and found the colony here. For 220 gold on the boreal, which is fertile. Yep. It slows down the growth of our main place, but it's usually worth it for the first one. And then we'll get a couple of curiosities there. Okay. And we're not going to spend money on these guys just yet until we get a little bit more of a windfall. Because because we want to stop the food shortage in our home place as fast as possible by making this place a mature outpost. That's really our top priority. We want to be growing at home quickly. So, let's move forward. And this is our first choice. We either have to assimilate a minor civ, be present on 5 planets, or discover 50% of our huge galaxy. This is a pretty obvious one, that being present on 5 planets is the easiest for us by far. So, the other thing that's worth mentioning is that we're about to get access to Tundra, so we could have waited a couple of extra turns to get this Tundra, but it's probably not the right call for us at this stage, because it's further away, so it would take much longer to get the food up there. Which will slow down the growth in our main place by a lot. Okay, so we do the one curiosity, titanium. That makes this boreal quite a bit better, doesn't it? And now, the same turn as this guy will reach that star system, my hero will reach it as well. And this guy is going to come up and explore this place. We're on turn 5 now. Keep on charging forward. Yeah, the only thing that I'm not liking right now is that my dust growth is a little too low for my liking. Although that's going to change when we finish this guy. I'm just going to put an infinite supermarkets at the back of the queue, because we're going to be building the xeno-industrial plants next after this the cerebral reality, but there's no reason to waste industry points having them go to nothing. And we'll build the supermarkets eventually. So now I've got only 3 probes here for this guy. Well, instead of looking at the temperate and this cool looking ash planet, what's this one? A permanent monsoon. Let's look at these 3 arids. Microfactories, more super spuds, and red sang. That's a pretty nice place, isn't it? And then we disconnect, and it looks like we're going to be able to meet up over here with our other ships, maybe before turn 9. Let's see how well we can do. And then out here, it looks like we did not get lucky. We don't have anything off of the star lanes that we can colonize. So here now, 22 turns. It's going to be less because we are getting 28 food periodically every few turns. We are at level 3 now, so we're up at our 40 science, but we still want to maximize the amount of experience that's going on our hero. Boom. So we've got lava arid. Ooh, and we've got transvine here, a new luxury resource that's not present in the other parts of our system. We've got 3 probes, so we use those. Battle tactic, not so great. Titanium, not so great. But, you know, not the end of the world. Okay. And now, what's this up here? It looks like a single steps planet. Cool. Got 2 more turns until our hero is going to be... Okay, until our hero is going to be returning to his homeland. And then we've got 4 curiosities there. So let's see if we can go over here in 2 turns. That'll be perfect, and we should be able to explore all 4 curiosities. Now, the next thing that we have to decide here is what our next steps are going to be. From a gold perspective, what I definitely want the next step to be is maximizing the growth here. If I can do that in the next couple of turns to get that 150, as long as it's at 20, I get basically full benefit there. Slightly less because we have the ships coming along. We're also about to get our tundra planet, our ability to colonize tundras, which will give us access to this one. And then we have savannas and arids in a couple of places around here. So we have the 1 savanna and 1 steppes, a 2nd steppes here, a couple of arids here, an arid here, and I think an arid here. Yes, this is the very nice arid over here. So we have a lot of colonization that can be done. And simultaneously, we're going to want to become pals with this guy. And we've got another little forest down there with acid rain ash. This is a bit of a reach for us. I'm probably not going to try to go down there. So, as we think about our expansion plans in the first part of the game, we have a number of what I would call tier 2 planets, right? That's arids, savannas, steppes, and snows, scattered around here and in our home place. So there's a pretty big benefit of maximizing our exploration tree right now. The other thing that we're going to want to get pretty much right away... Oh, we aren't... Sorry, I was looking at the science. We aren't getting xenobiology yet, so we won't be able to get the tundra. We're just getting xenolinguistics first. Yep, it's only turn 7. Game is still early. Alright, so now, with this guy, he can look at this curiosity, which was a dud, and then we'll go ahead and go to the next turn. So we've got our xenolinguistics, now we're moving for xenobiology. And as promised, see, if we didn't put the infinite supermarkets at the back of the queue there, because we couldn't have selected the xeno-industrial infrastructure, we would have wasted this much industry. It's a minor thing, but it's not bad to have something always at the end of the queue so that you're not wasting any industry at any time. So I think this is a level 2 curiosity. Yeah, so we can't do that yet anyway. So now I am going to try to move next turn. You can see my hero still needs one more turn before he can relocate planets. And he's got about a quarter of experience past level 3. So next turn we will be moving him back, and we have 7 turns of building this xeno-industrial infrastructure. Although if we can grow, it will be less. Although, because we're supplying our outpost, our growth is pretty slow. Alright. Meanwhile, this guy has a probe, and we're just going to want him to kind of like sit over here and just toss some probes out once in a while. This is the most valuable thing he can be doing. And we're going to do that in a couple different places soon. Alright, and this guy he's just going to sit on his couple of probes, waiting for our hero next turn. Oops, I forgot one thing last turn. I'm making a few mistakes here because I could have upgraded my outpost to accelerate this process, which I'm definitely going to do even though I'm a turn late on it. So, select all, merge. Now I've got 4 probes, just like I planned. Oh, but I forgot one curiosity is a level 2 curiosity, so I can't get it this time. So I've got Cyberflora, it's a nice one. Oh, a little module to boost energy damage and critical hit chance, that's good to know. And some more Transvine on the Tundra. So this place is looking pretty nice. Alright. Now, Mr. Caravel and Mr. Caravel 2 over here. They're going to want to... So my hero, we already talked about what he's going to do. He's going to be reassigned here. And let's just take a look to see how this is going. Right now we're at 31 science, slightly better than when we started, because we built this guy, the Cerebral Reality. But now when we apply the hero, who's now level 3 to the system, our science jumps way up from 33, or 30 something to 71. And that 71 allows us to get our technologies like xenobiology much faster. And the next one we're going after is galactic commodities. Probably. Okay. So, now let's keep... Now, the next step was, what were we going to do with these two guys? I think I'm going to have one explore the curiosities down here, one explore the curiosities up here, and then we're going to try to throw some probes out into this beyond, same way we're doing with this gentleman over here. Alright, so this is looking good. We want this to go fast, 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 as much as we can. Move our ships. Explore this. Oh, more Transvine. And finding a technology for free for a total of 100 science. Definitely worth it. even if it's one that's not great, the hit of 10 to us right now isn't a huge deal. But the question is, are we ready to go here and get our marketplace? So access to the marketplace is huge for the Lumeris, absolutely huge. And we're already generating some red sang and a ton of titanium right now. So it gives us an enormous gold bump as soon as we hit that. But we currently can't colonize anything else in this area unless we get more technology. So I think that it's probably appropriate for us to pick one additional level 2 system, or level 2 planet type, so that we can do a couple of extra colonies. Steps would be nice, because here's a couple of huge red vine and transvine deposits on that large step, but it's not the richest system. This savanna arid, and this tundra one we will be able to do. We will be able to do that tundra one, which is also a good one. Okay, so let's do it this way. We're going to go to this tundra next, and then we'll go to either steppes or savanna, so that Hath will have a place to expand to, and we can expand out one more there, and then we'll go to the arids, and then the second of either steppes or savanna. And we are going to get the marketplaces first. And that gives us a little bit of time to decide whether we want to do the steppes first or the savanna first. And that's going to actually depend my screen got a bit dimmer here because I have Flux on to make the screen bluer. Let me just turn that off for now, because I don't know what it'll do to your guys' screens. Alright, so here we finished xenobiology, we've got our public-private partnerships, and we're going straight for access to the exchange. So that public-private partnerships, highest priority for the next thing. We're just going to throw it in the queue right now. And we keep on throwing out probes. We have enough cash now if we wanted to get a little bit of goodwill from these guys. We can spend 50 to do that. I think that's okay. We'll be able to do much more once we start being able to sell our luxury resources and our strategic resources. So we're going to look at our arid, and then here, more red sang. This is a pretty flush place with luxury resources. And red sang isn't the worst. It's not the optimal one for the Lumeris. I would say jade onyx is the optimal one, followed by deciduous trees. But yeah, but red sang is not so bad as a first level luxury resource. Really what matters most for the Lumeris is the quantity. Yeah, which is making me probably guess that the savanna is going to be the route that we go here to get the maximum quantity of luxury resources, especially since none of our looking across off the star lanes has worked out right now. Ooh, but there is something interesting that we can find. So I think if we make a slightly different trajectory there, we should be able to discover that race. And let's give it one more shot out this way, see if we can find something. And then we're just going to go ahead and move on to the next turn. Oh, we found them without that. Not bad. Alright, why don't we introduce ourselves? Get that +1 starting to tick. They also migrate for deciduous trees. Oh, we discovered the eider down here as well. Very nice. So then, let's see if we can discover some planets over here, because that would be delightful. Now, this guy, we don't want him just living out here, spending his whole life throwing off probes, because he can be doing some exploring over here. This is a good time to mention that there is actually an achievement that happens when you explore 10 curiosities. For those of you that are counting, we're definitely above 10 curiosities right now. We discovered, like, we explored probably nearly that many just in the first 9 turns with our hero. It just has not triggered yet for whatever reason. No, I'm not exactly sure what allows it to be triggered, where the mission is, as it were. In any case, let's keep moving. Hey, we are starting to find a couple things off the beaten path. So these eider, we're going to contact them as well. They have a great ability when you assimilate them called relic peddlers that gives you extra gold for every curiosity that you've discovered, which is one as an avid explorer of curiosities that I quite like. And now, how about up here? We've got some ices and barrens and arctics. Oh my. I think that we're gonna move him up here and he's gonna see if we can find something in this direction. So, here we are. 1 turn until our outpost becomes a colony. 1 turn until we get our xeno-industrial infrastructure. And then I think we move towards our savannas. So one of the reasons I'm a little bit loath to pick the savannas is I actually, as Lumeris, don't want warp drive early. The reason that I don't want warp drive early is because, let's say we were able to colonize one of these guys, like this Arctic planet. I could colonize this planet, and it would start out having no ships, no outpost food ships, the automatic ships like the ones here that are sending food to Genemos, coming from Hath or Genemos to supply this place. I can just double the growth with gold, and these places can continue to grow at maximum speed, and that's a huge benefit early in the game. I'm sorry I can't show it for you guys right now in this example, but there still is time, actually. Alright, so we've got our new colony, Genemos, with the Arctics and Barrens. And what we're going to do right here, the Boreal, even though it's cold, it's also fertile. So we want this Xeno-Industrials to make us build stuff faster, Cerebral Reality, and Public-Private Partnerships. It's going to take a while for that to work, but it'll be okay. Alright, now we're at level 4 over here. We want a little bit of extra gold production, because why not? And now things are going to start getting interesting. Hey, look at this. Vega. So Vega has a jungle, a savanna, steppes, arid, and an ash. What a nice system. So we do get to have a little show here. This is fantastic. So I'm still going to go for the savannas afterwards because I'm going to have Vega colonized well before we get the warp drives. And I'll show you guys how. Even though this jungle, if I went to colonize it right now, it's 360. So it looks like we're 260 away. But next turn, I'm going to flip the script a little bit, because the Lumeris are wonderful creatures. All right. So, we finished Galactic Commodities Exchange, the most important technology for the Lumeris. Ooh, now we're supposed to discover 5 atmospheric curiosities. This is really good for us if we can do it, because getting 30 titanium and 100 extra dust is really quite nice. But the most important thing that's going to happen right now is when we go in here, we now have access to the marketplace. We've got 34 red sang, 10 transvine and spuds, and 65 titanium. These 65 titanium sell for 10 a piece, which means we're getting 5 a turn. And we don't need that titanium right now nearly as much as we need the gold. So now we have 1,000 dust. And that 1,000 dust means that we can hop right on to our jungle, which itself has a 5 titanium place, and double the growth, so that we can get this super quickly. And as you can see, no system is selected to supply this place with food, which means that both Hath here is getting its full amount of growth, and Geminos is getting its full amount of growth. And this is so nice in the early game, because we really want that extra population not to be eaten up by sending stuff to our colonies. So let's see if we can explore some of these places over here. Now, let's take a look. We have this Atmospheric Curiosities quest, so I actually am going to spend a little bit of time looking for Atmospheric Curiosities. We have one on our Savannah. So we're going to need baryonic shielding for that, and that's fine. This is also an atmospheric, which is great. So just having someone who can probe these 2 things in 4 turns, and that's a subterranean. And that's a ruins. So we've got 2 atmospherics in our neighborhood. Yep, 2 atmospherics. Great. Okay, the other thing that we're going to do is, because we have this one off the star lanes, we can have a second colony, thanks to all the dust that we have, right here. 513, we're not going to be able to afford the upgrade, but we are going to be getting more transvine, more titanium, and a nice tundra colony started. So, also, I'm actually going to have Genimos send over the food here, because I really want Hath to get more population. Genimos growing, I don't care about quite as much. Okay, so now this stuff has been sent out. I'm going to go ahead and end this turn. So now we've made a little bit of friends with these guys. We've found the Horatio. Ooh, we have a place right there. Luckily we beat them to Vega. Oh, special planet there. And not too far away. So Oh, it's a steppes and savanna place. So if we did steppes first, we could have potentially grabbed this one for this planet for free, without having to send ships to it. But if we do baryonic shielding, once we have warp, then ships get sent no matter what. But after we've got a certain number of systems, that's not so much of a problem, actually. The other thing that I want to do, now that we have dust generation abilities, is we want to, first of all, keep selling our stuff. And we want to start impressing the various factions here. So the Eider, they have this massive ocean that they've actually been smart enough to colonize, which is a little bit unusual for these guys, actually. So I think I'm totally fine paying them a bit of cash to start getting on their good sides. Meanwhile, we have these gents over here who are allied with the Sophons, but still giving us 10 dust and 10 science. So let's move forward. Now the next thing... Oh. Hello, Cravers. The next thing that we're going to be thinking about as we're planning our expansion and we've got our resources and so on is, what do we want to do about the guys neighboring us? So the way that we start a snowball in any 4X game, and Endless Space is no exception, is we want to get a little bit militaristic early on so that you can take the resources and occupy an area of yourself and a neighbor. And if you do that, then you're kind of destined for greatness, and you can even set back into a more passive pose once that's finished. So we're going to finish and get savannas opened up here, and then I think that the next step for us, we didn't get any special systems that would give us better lasers or anything if we wanted to start thinking about being aggressive, but I am going to next get one of these, either the either Astrofinance for the Xenotourism agencies, which are good because we have so many luxury resources, or Multithread because buyouts are useful for Lumeris. But actually, our overall FIDS generation, we have plenty of things to use our gold for, our dust for right now. So I think that actually getting Astrofinance will be best. And the reason that I'm prioritizing this is we want to start using that sweet red sang that we're making to boost the food of our planets. And then after that, oh, damn. We didn't get to the atmospheric curiosities. We could have gotten them this turn, but so be it. That's 6 bops? Alright. Never mind. We couldn't have gotten them this turn. Let's see what we find here. Looks like, oh, population. That's actually great. We'll happily take a population on our little boreal right there. And then here, we want a colony. For sure, because remember, this colony, now that we've got our public-private partnerships and our xeno-industrial infrastructure, this colony on the Savannah will give us 20 of each. Okay, I'm just queuing up a few more technologies now. We'll talk about those when we come to them. Look at that. We got N-wave fusion. That was one of the things on our list. Oh no, that was this one. But we can probably... yeah, we can probably deal with that. We've discovered or explored 20% of the galaxy. Not too shabby. Let's see what is on our Savannah planet. Some extra influence. Yeah, I think I'll take the little science hit for discovering something. It's usually something not too bad. Yeah, and so now we have the very nice option of jumping onto Bilgeli here as one of our next systems, although it will have to be paid for with our outpost ships. This guy's 10 turns away, but we have 39 titanium. Our red Sang I want to start building up, because that's going to be our level 2 civilization. Resource. Alright, so 3 turns until I get another person here. But I think actually with it being also 3 turns until we get red Sang, it's probably not bad to just take this before the Horatio get it. And it's very good. It's very good. Look at that. Plus 8 science, plus 6 dust, 5 influence, and 4 food for each person compared to a normal Savannah planet. Whew. This is the power of the Lumeris. So now we are actually on, if you're counting, 5 planets, which I expect we will get an achievement for next turn. And then we just keep probing and exploring over here. This little probe and explorer guy is going to head over this direction. And yeah, we're just going to keep moving on little by little. So here, there are a couple of things worth talking about. Ecologists are very useful for the Lumeris at this point, as are the industrialists. The pacifists actually aren't, but keeping Yelchin and the pacifist party in charge is actually a big deal. And later on, either the industrialists or the ecologists will be part of the Lumeris mission chain. So I usually try to boost the industrialists here, but our ecologists actually have a little bit of a lead. But no, I'm going to actually boost the industrialists. See if we can get a couple. Look at that. So, industrialists onto the Senate. And the ecologists are actually only really beneficial if they're in control, because that's what gives the ability to settle any world. And there is almost no chance that the ecologists would get control there. So these guys should be, yeah, they're receiving from half. We can double the speed here, though. Fantastic. 8 planets from the Cravers. We're on 5 planets, though. And now we're supposed to be producing 150 dust in one of our systems. Certainly not an easy feat, but I have faith. We're not getting... oh, what's this? +5 on system per luxury resource deposit. I haven't seen this one before, actually. Stim City. Cool. So we're going to start moving in this direction. Almost done with our astrofinance. And yeah, this is looking very solid. So Bilgeli is not the one with any special abilities here, or the Transvine, for example. I think that this Megrez 2 Steps planet is going to be our most interesting one in that regard. So I'm actually going to move this ship across here. So moving these ships the way I'm doing it right now is basically sacrificing any chance of doing some early aggression. The Lumeris are actually quite good at making aggressive moves before turn 30. But in this case, because we have such a nice pocket of some more resources from the Eider. So we're going to get plus 10 happiness, which we don't particularly need, or 100% experience. We should always look, though. So 10 happiness will bring us up to 85. Might give us a little bit more food and influence. But I think that actually doubling the experience, given that we're about to be building some new stuff, is more important. So, yeah. So I'm going to go with the extra experience, actually. And this general price increase for luxury resources, that's good news for us. Because in 2 turns, we're also going to be changing our laws. Okay, so here we are over here. Continue scouting out curiosities. Oh, a trap. Pirates. Pretty sure that this caravel does have a gun. It does. Okay. It can actually fight. Alright, we'll let it pluck away there. Something that this reminds me of, we should change our battle tactics. Revive and rebuild is a terrible battle tactic. I think that the critical hit weapon modules is a pretty good one for us to do as a third one. The shield absorption and hull plating are the best 2 for most parts of the early game. Yeah, and we're going to want to just keep on plucking away at this guy to try to get him out of the way quickly, because we are a little bit lucky in that we don't have any minor civilizations up here, and I don't want that to get wrecked by having some pirates running around and blockading our shenanigans. Okay. So, finished Astrofinance. Now we're moving on to get our steps. A little bit more fighting here, naturally. Uh-oh. So do we run back to Hath and heal up? I think we do. I don't think there's any reason to risk this caravel. I think we're going to run home. Tail between our legs and all of that. Meanwhile, our 2 ships are bravely moving towards their couple of areas over here. Vega still growing fast, but no automated ships are being sent. Hooray, hooray. And now we can actually start thinking about getting some additional benefits from our friends over here. These guys we are now getting a little bit of science from. And these guys, we can get a bit more from them. Yeah, I think we can even do a little bit better, can't we? Because we have all of this titanium. Oh, and it's selling for 17 apiece. We just don't need it right now. We just don't need it, guys. So that moves us up to 600. We're already going fast there. We can be going fast there. We should be. And now let's use the remainder to become pals here. So this means that we're at 37 right now. With plus 5 for 10 turns, we'll get up to 87. 87 is going to be enough to assist them, but not enough to assimilate them. And I would like to assimilate these guys. So if I do one more, now we'll go up to 107 in 10 turns, and I'll have the option to actually assimilate them directly with influence if for some reason the assisting option isn't, like, it's just not a good, not an easy mission to achieve. Meanwhile, I think we can wait until next turn, but then we'll give these guys another. Actually, let's do it right now. We can sell one little red sang, and get that. All right. So unfortunately, as you saw from that red sang there, we are not yet equipped to really do much with our level 2 systems, because we don't have enough red sang. We only have 11, and we're only gaining here. We're only gaining 2 each turn. Same with the transvine. Luckily, starting next turn, we'll be getting a little bit more, 2 more each turn, and we're going to do one more thing next turn to ramp that up even more. So, with that said, let's move on to turn 23. 8 people in the home system of the Sophons. They grow so fast on Endless. But now, we found another minor civilization. So let's go explore that one, and also check out a couple of things on our steps. Ooh, the titanium enhancer for projectile damage. So we got both the Hyperium and the titanium one. More red sang on that steps as well. Pretty nice. Pretty nice. 9 turns until that's colonized. 6 turns until that one, although might require a little bit of re-upping. Alright, not much we can do in either of these places. So, some adamantium found over there. We're just going to explore out into the wilderness. So now, there's some additional stuff that we can build here. We got our xenotourism agencies and this stuff. So here we got 7372 for our FIDs. Here we have 8642. So the Savannah is a little bit better for dust, but the atoll is better for everything else. So we actually want to keep using the atoll with all of our guys. The thing I told you guys I was going to change, though, is Super Tax Act is excellent in the early game, but now that we've got all of these places that have luxury resources, and we're starting to generate a bit more dust, so I'm going to abolish this and pass My Precious, which gives plus 20% per luxury resource of dust. This is an excellent one, and on top of that, it gives an extra resource for each luxury resource that you're getting. So this is a very nice law to have in place at this stage. It slows down our influence gain a little bit, but now our red sang is going up to plus 6 a turn from plus 2 last turn. And we're going to go ahead and commit to our level 2 modernization being based on the red sang. And very nicely, we're finishing our xeno-industrial plants in our second place this turn. So now, yep, everything's looking good. So now this looks like we had it going for arids next. This is kind of in line with the strategy that I had early on. And now we're up to amicable, 50% with the Bagaba. And we discovered Anapistus. Apistus, excuse me. Which gives extra trade value. Alright. There's our stupid shuttle that we predicted might give us trouble. Ooh, some antimatter. So, right now we are in such a good situation with this. That we really want to just keep selling our resources because we can use this gold so well. Not to repair that thing though. That would not be an efficient use of our dust. An efficient use of our dust is something a little bit more like, well, actually, we really want to colonize these before we make more. So 5 turns now. This might jump up to 8 turns. We might want to actually rush that again to save 4 turns. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll look next turn to get how we're feeling about that. Also, I just realized my video, now that it's dark here, looks kind of weird. Let's shed a bit of light on the situation. Okay. So we're approaching as well our 30 turn limit. Yeah, these repairs are so expensive right now. So we just disband. It'll be okay. Might even make a little fighter type. We got our special probes as well. We like throw in an engine, a couple of lasers, and maybe some special monohull plating. And we make a little fighter. Go deal with some pirates so that they don't screw anything up for us. Boom. Harosham is in Vega. It's contested? Something weird just happened. It said it was contested. Yep. And then it said I had Haroshams. Not exactly sure what happened there, guys. But, whatever. It's time to start exploring. See what we've got. Permanent monsoon. Not perfect. Very nice seasons. Not bad. And Transvine was the third one. +1 food on every planet on the Empire. Also not bad. Alright, so now let's check these guys out. So they're giving us a little bit of stuff. We're still on pretty good pace with them. Down here, we're above 50%. One more turn, this will get cheap again. And over here, yep, we're a couple turns away from being able to assist. So now we definitely want to get level 2 modernization, grow faster, 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 and we're going to want to colonize that steppes. We're actually going to want to do that as soon as we can. So colonizing the steppes will give us even more red sang, 3 more because of our law. And with 3 more red sang, we grow faster and faster. Six turns to build galley. Got some jade onyx. We have a lot of dust right now, and this is exactly where the Lumeris feel quite comfortable. You can kind of see, as we pause to reflect for a moment as we're approaching the 30 turns, how we snowballed the choices that we made in the early game to go first for industry, and then for science, and then for the marketplace, into 3 distinct things in this order. The first is planets that can produce useful things, particularly our home system. A very nice science boost that allows us to get a lot of other technologies and explore secondary technologies quickly. And then using the fact that now we're able to put colonies on lots of different planets and get luxury and strategic resources and turn those things quickly into dust using the market. Those 3 things, which were the first 3 technologies we went after, are the most important pillars of our strategy. And they're starting a snowball for us. So if I look at the score, we're probably not in first, but given that it's endless difficulty, the fact that we're in, what is this, 5th? There's 4 computers with 200 points, and we're at 150. On turn 26 is a pretty good situation to be in. And it's going to get only better. Nope, and I almost forgot. So for whatever reason, we got the Harashems, I think, that came down here, so we don't need to spend any more cash on them. You guys, you're going to be fine. And you guys, we're paying for now. Yeah, but we got to get those fighters off their butts. All right, now we're moving towards the food, botanical scanning. So let's just pause and talk about what we've been up to, because I clicked a bunch of things really quickly, but it was in line with the strategy I had articulated earlier. So we got our, So, Magrez. Pirates. Our level 3 Caravel has no guns, so it's not really going to be suitable there. And we're going to be surrounded by the Horatio over here on Magrez, but I think that's going to be okay. Hopefully those pirates don't stick around, though. That would be, shall we say, inconvenient. Alright, so Vega. Now I can colonize so many of these planets. It's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. And this one has incredible food on this savannah. Nice. 8, 6 on the jungle. Yeah, the steppes is not looking so good. High gravity over here, not so good. But not too bad. Alright, and obviously what we're going to do here is the same thing that we've been doing in other places. These are the key ones. Especially since this is a jungle, we get plus 20 from each of these. And as we move to colonize the other stuff, I'm going to colonize the savannah next. We'll get 20 more. And that's how these systems start the process of becoming good. Alright, so a little bit of health there. And our happy hero, only level 4, but he's doing good things here because he's giving a lot of extra science, a little bit of extra dust. This will be 15, plus some for anomalies, which we don't have any on this system. But as Vega grows, we'll probably end up moving our hero over to Vega, because this is clearly a fantastic system. Even though there are a couple of negative anomalies, there's just going to be so much space for high population here. And the fact that those anomalies exist means that the Lumeris hero will give them more, more gold for the system. It's just a really good situation. You know what I am going to do here? So you remember how before we talked about how... Okay, great. Although you know what? I think I even want to go like this. Do 2 Hyperiums. Apply the design. Oh, we don't have 2 Hyperiums. That's a bit of a oversight on my part. I should have been getting Hyperium long ago, because it's easy for us with the amount of dust that we have. Alright, so let's say instead of the Hyperium probes, we're going to do the titanium probes. Apply that design and say, you know what, we want 5 probes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Science Pulsus. 10 curiosities. Only now? Whatever. Sim Cap. Oh, interesting. A Sim Camp to give manpower, industry per manpower production, and some more transvine. Okay, and then we have one more even, which we can go take a peek over here. Now, 6 praising. These guys I think slowed down a little bit. Good. So let's just get even one more to go a little bit faster. And then here we're already going pretty fast. And then up here we haven't started yet. So let's get it going. Normally I would actually be mixing a bit of aggressive and non-aggressive patterns here, but the fact that our dust production is going so well makes me not want to do that right now. I'm going to build one more fighter so that we can actually contest the pirates as well. So, let's make it happen. We're approaching turn 30. Up to over 110 or over 100 gold dust per turn. More resources. We're still being haunted a little bit by this stupid bastard. Little bastard. Oh, nice. Okay, maybe he'll stay away for a little while. But this pirate thing is inconvenient. Some might even say highly inconvenient. I don't really need to probe the curiosities on these guys' planet. But now I have this space available to me, and I really want to just be, generating a huge amount of cash so that I can start doing this more and more. I really want those guys to move. They're a pain in the butt. Alright, so Vega's done, so these guys are growing normally now. Yep. Oh no, they're still sending to Gatria. Right. Yeah, because these are the two. So I have to basically wait. Because I don't really want to send from Vega to here. Yeah, I think it's best for me to wait. It's just 5 more turns. Although I would love to make a big play at the end to show you guys a little bit about what's possible with Lumeris. Now we're up to most of the resources. We discovered the amoeba over here. This is looking pretty saucy. Pretty saucy indeed. So, most of the resources means that we can move to an assistant. Alright, so we have to go find that vessel and intercept. So let's go find that vessel. And we'll just keep sending 2 probes out over here every turn as we discover new things about the universe. Alright, this is turn 29, so we're about to be at our lovely turn 30. We're now finally getting Hyperium from Gatria. Okay, and here we are at turn 30. Let's talk briefly. Oh, look at that. Plus 10 on all systems from the 5 science that we gave up. So let's talk briefly about where we are as the Lumeris at turn 30. So we've explored pretty well our quadrant of the empire, of the galaxy, and carved out for ourselves a nice little strategy where, unlike most races, we went to the periphery of where we want to be colonizing first and are contesting some of these places that are like the better systems, like Vega and Megrez, and then we can consolidate in these areas later as these places grow up, while we try not to incapacitate our very nice starting spot of Hath too much. So, for example, when Gatria grows up, then Genemos and Gatria will both be supplying another colony here, and then we'll probably wait for those to grow up before moving to Eridanus and Lumeris. Meanwhile, Vega and Megrez, we're going to want to not be supplying any colony ships so that they can grow population rapidly, and same with Hath. Our total population right now, as you guys can see, is just 10 on turn 30, which isn't super high, but also not embarrassing. This is the stat I think is best here, and it's worth talking a little bit about, because gaining 240 dust per turn on turn 30 sounds like a lot, and it's so good for the Lumeris at this stage to be able to do this. And this is not even including the amount of dust we can generate from selling resources, as you guys saw before, which I do a lot. So we have our titanium, and sure thing, boss, sell some of that, sell some of this jade onyx. These spuds we don't need. The transvine. Look at that. We're over 2,000 dust on turn 30 as the Lumeris. Kicking ass over here. Yep, 2,000 dust, 5 systems. Could easily create more if we wanted to give the extra food but I don't think that we actually even really want to do that. But it's worth noting of that 236 that 140 of it comes from our systems dust production, but 110 comes from our relationships with the minor civs. If you look at these guys, look at this, 69 dust, 66 science. It's worth looking for these temperate traits because they give more dust than other factions when you're friends with them. So like these guys also have it. The amoeba also have it, although we didn't find them until just recently. These guys, boom. So we have a bunch of temperate minor factions around. And now we can be like, yeah man, let's get full with the amoeba. You guys, let's ramp it up a little bit. Get to a total of 100. And then we'll be able to actually make decent bids to start assimilating these guys. So this intercept the kidnapper's vessel. I'm hoping that our caravel will actually make it, because that's actually a pretty easy one that we could use, and then grab this great place. If you guys remember back at the beginning, this is an atoll with an arid there, and some more super spuds, which are good fodder for selling for dust. Next thing on our list, we've got the My Precious thing. We didn't play that much with diplomacy because we haven't gotten to the stage of the tech tree yet, but it's worth mentioning is that this plus 15% FIDZ on peace is really strong. And as you move forward in the game, like for example with the Horatio, who are also peace-oriented, I'm definitely going to want to pursue peace with them, because getting a 15% FIDZ boost is excellent. And as we move further out, you know, once we can deal with the pirates a little bit and know where we want to go here, then discovering civilizations on the other side of the map and just declaring peace with them early on, especially if they're AIs, is really great, because it gives your empire a huge FIDZ bonus. It's just similar to how with Cravers, you want to be declaring war on everything that you can find just because it gives you such a boost to happiness. Alright, for our science, let's talk about that. So we're sitting at 280 a turn at turn 30, which is again pretty respectable. And so with 280 a turn, 180 is coming from our stuff and 100 from the minor civilizations. So again, it's pretty, it emphasizes the value of being, as one of these passive races, of making lots of friends over here. Our hero, still only level 4, trucking away little by little, almost level 5, but his main purpose was really that early game where we got this 40 science. That was so important to allow us to expand to the planets that we wanted to expand to in the early part of the game, and get to the marketplace particularly. We could never have gotten to the marketplace that fast without having the hero with 40 science in our home system. So that's a huge piece of it. Ooh, even our fighters without a probe on the ship, they still get a little, without a probe module, they still get a probe. Oh hey look, ion torpedoes with titanium. Well, 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 well. Not bad. We might get a little bit of feisty action yet. So, with all this, I think this is a pretty good overview of how we like to play Lumeris, and where we like to be at turn 30 in a game on Endless with the hardest difficulty of Pirates and Minor Civ. If there's interest, you guys, let me know in the comments and like the video. We can talk about taking the game from here and do another video for like the next 30 turns, let's say, or just show you a bit of the game state at the end of the game with a quick 5-minute coverage. thanks so much for watching the first video, and I hope you enjoy Endless Space 2. Hey guys, one more thing that I wanted to mention is that I'm going to save the game right here, and I'm going to make the save game file available in a link to the description in the YouTube video, so that if you want to pick the game up here and play the rest of it on your own to see how it feels, to be stepping into a game at this stage with this sort of start, then you can explore it for yourselves. Anyway, hope you have fun playing, and good luck with Lumeris.